Let me introduce to you our guest speaker from Sky Digital Agency, Ms. Charmaine Lee. She is the Chief Digital Marketing Trainer and Consultant who is a certified associate adult educator. She has plenty of knowledge in the marketing industry with more than 12 years of working experience. And guess what? She's also a former student in TP who studied interactive media design. So without further ado, Ms. Charmaine, take it away.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me. Can everyone hear me loud and clear? I think we have about 60 people here. Okay, so today I think I understand from Joshua organizing this talk that you are curious, and I think some questions were submitted about digital marketing. So today I prepared a short presentation. At any point of time, if you have questions, feel free to put it in the chat, and they would actually compile it and we'll try to answer them together. But for those questions that have been submitted, I think I picked about 8 questions and I've already answered them, but I think I will elaborate on it as well. Okay, so welcome to the webinar. All right, so as Dixon mentioned, thank you so much for the warm introduction. All right, so any point of time, if you have any questions, just type it in. I think for the host, as they look at the questions, if it's at that point of time, that slide, I think I would answer it as well. Okay, fair enough. All right, and usually after each slide, I will also ask whether anyone has any questions. It's good to clarify. I think it's a good opportunity as well to get it answered and not have lingering thoughts. All right, so without further ado, okay. So I started my first agency back in 2010, and it was actually shortly after graduation. I used to work for StarHub and a startup, okay, and the startup really taught me a lot of things. So for those of you who are looking for internships, I would highly encourage you to have a balance of both experience in a very big company and also in a startup company, because you get to learn a lot of things, all right? And after that, we rebranded because we grew more than just web design, graphic design. We did a lot of many other things, digital, from Facebook, social media to Google SEO. So that was the reason why we had to rebrand to Sky Digital Agency. But I also have another company called The Good Designers, okay? And I do a lot of training these days. More than half my time, I think, is spent on training, developing new curriculum. And I teach 2 subjects at Institute for Adult Learning, the one at Paya Lebar, and 3 subjects at Aventis and 1 at Experience, okay? I've developed more than 10 digital marketing curriculums since 2015. So it has been quite interesting as well during this whole period. All right, and yeah, my LinkedIn, feel free to scan and get connected. Let me know that you have attended the webinar today, and feel free to just scan and let me know that you have attended, and I'll definitely add you on LinkedIn, all right? Okay, of course, recently I've also been accredited as a MailerLite expert. Okay, for those of you curious about digital marketing, MailerLite is a really good platform, and it's email marketing. First 1,000 emails subscribers that you import in are free, okay? All right, and we also have a YouTube channel. So thank you so much for agreeing that we are also going to publish this on our YouTube channel. And we're also going live right now on our Facebook page. All right, so yeah, for those of you who have friends who want to join in, just let them know to head over to our Facebook Live video as well, okay? All right, so what do we do at our agency? Of course, besides web development, we do much lesser of this these days. I teach digital marketing, as I mentioned to you. So I picked it up along the way, didn't learn it in school. So I think it's definitely possible for you guys as well. All right. So of course, take it one step at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. I think when I first started, it was just Facebook, Google Analytics, SEO, and then just embracing the different things like email marketing along the way. Okay. Some of our clients, we have actually done a workshop before, 1-day workshop in Temasek Poly. We have done a few rounds at Nian, and I will try to share as much as possible to help you understand what digital marketing is all about. Okay, so first things first, how many of you know when actually marketing kind of like got started? Anybody? You can put it in the chat if you know, you can make a guess. When do you think marketing actually started? Actually in the 1800s. But back then, because we didn't have graphic designing softwares, we didn't have computers, so it was mainly drawn by designers. Okay, so they would sketch it out, almost look like a 3D, but black and white because color hasn't came about then. Okay, so 1800s. Then 120 years later, color came about in print. Not many colors. It wasn't easy to print like what we have today. Very easy. Just go to your printer, click print, and all the full color print came out, right? At that point of time, it was costly and not easy to print in color. But as you can see here in 1920s, this was a Converse ad that was actually done. 40 years later, what do you think happened? Anybody? Okay, let me know if there were any guesses from the chat. 40 years later, black and white. Sorry, color photography came about. Before that, just slightly a few years before that, black and white photography came about. So color photography was really a great impact in the creative industry because they were actually trying to build on the emotions. So that was when modeling and a lot of this stuff came about, where the best models that were able to capture the emotions of what the brand, the business is trying to illustrate actually came about. Okay. Now, after that, what do you think happened 40 years later? 40 years later, Google advertising came about. So Google came about many years before, early 1990s, I think mid 1990s, but they didn't know how to leverage on their business. Okay, so eventually someone actually gave them this idea to advertise based on search intent, and it came about in year 2000. Right, so 12 years later, Facebook social media advertising came about, and it is very different. For those of you who are wondering what's the difference between Google advertising and social media, Google advertising is based on intent. So if I search for, say, Instagram marketing guide, I can bid against Instagram marketing guide to advertise my Instagram marketing course. But for social media, most of the time there is no intent, but there is a way to retarget people with the intent. So if they have landed on your website, you can retarget those ads. Or if they are already on your mailing list, you can retarget these people with email marketing. So that is more in depth, but just know that these tools are available for you, all right? So who can actually deliver two things at the same time, intent and also basically the retargeting. I think that would be the winner in all your social media and digital marketing strategy. Okay, now let's define what is digital marketing. So a lot of you have submitted some of your word map, your thoughts on digital marketing. So let's define digital marketing. Digital marketing, this from Wikipedia, is a marketing of your products and services using digital technologies, mainly on the internet. Okay, so display advertising, any digital medium. But the key thing is that if you advertise through, say, Orchard Road, very big TV display ad, how are you going to track? So that is the key to the difference between traditional and digital. It is supposed to allow you to track. So if there are digital marketing that you are exploring that doesn't allow you to track, okay, then I highly encourage you to look into it. Okay, if you're working for a company and they're still doing it, I think you should just propose to them that where is the tracking, right? How do you know how many people seen it? What is the return? How you calculate the return on investment? Okay, so I put some things together here just to help you understand. Digital marketing is the umbrella of everything. It includes website, SEO marketing, and a lot of people always look at website as an expense. I actually did a video to talk about it before, that website is actually your 24/7 salesperson and your global advertising sales and marketing person. So if you do it right, they are going to get you a lot of leads and sales. Okay, email marketing is also under digital, social media marketing, not just Facebook and Instagram. You know, even eventually, I think if you can do TikTok and things like that. Blogging, video marketing, YouTube. So think about these things. Content marketing is a bit different. Content marketing is not talking about your business explicitly through these different social media, these different platforms. Even when you blog about it, you don't explicitly talk about it. But at the end of it, you do share with them that, hey, by the way, if you need some help, you know, just get in touch with us. And then they click on the banner, they are directed to your contact page or form page or landing page. Okay. So content marketing is a bit different. A lot of people always ask, then if I help my customers so much, then how am I going to earn money? All right, just remember that content marketing is going to be the driving force for a lot of companies, especially smaller companies, startup, small SMEs, because there's always three groups of customers, okay? Customers who want to know and then they don't do anything about it, they don't act on it, right? That's the first group of customers. The second group of customers are those that want to know and then they want to do it themselves. So they're also not your customers, right? So the third group of customers are the ones who wants to know and then they want to engage you for it. So think about the groups of customers you're trying to attract. But if you want to not share and then want to get customers, there's just a very small group of those type of customers these days. Okay, so just be aware that content marketing is a bit different. Okay, and we highly encourage you to explore content marketing across all the digital marketing platforms, whether it's social media, email marketing, SEO, or blogging. Okay, and last but not least, Google AdWords advertising is search engine optimization, SEM. Okay, also known as pay-per-click, based on intent. All right, so now the 5 key problems. So now that you know the platforms, right? What's the problem with digital marketing? And a lot of people, even marketers, sadly to say, a lot of whether you're fresh grads or you are already in the industry, these common problems always surface. Okay. And there are 5 key problems that I identified here, and I will share with you. There are many others, but I think these are the 5 major ones that are probably easier for you to understand. Number 1, they go into it without a strategy and they give up too early. That's the first problem. Okay, they're not testing enough advertising messages. A lot of our participants, they always like to, because we conduct courses, right? So they always like to have a generic messaging. The problem is social media advertising is so specific that when you have a generic ad, you are actually just not using what the platform gives you, which is a specific messaging. So if I want to retarget people who like Jamie Oliver, if I'm an F&B business, right? So if my message is so generic, then definitely it's not going to speak to this group of audience. So that's why they are not testing enough, they're not testing properly, and they're giving up too early, and they say that, hey, it doesn't work for me. The second problem is that a lot of people just feel that everyone is their customer. They don't know who their customers are. They don't know who their audience are. So this is the second problem. And recently this year, I created this customer persona post just to put in some questions to think about. Okay, so it's on our Instagram already, but if you want, you feel free to take a screenshot. Some things that you give your persona a name, whether it's Emily or Christy, right? Just give that persona a name. What's their role? What's their education like? What industry do they work with? So that you can actually craft up a very specific message, okay, for this group of people, right? Next point, doing sales on social media. So there is a very big gap of a very big misconception between sales and marketing, right? So not knowing the difference is one big problem as well, because on social media, what we are trying to do is to be sociable with our customers. So if we are not being sociable, that's when we have to ask ourselves, what are we trying to do with social media? So a lot of people go on social media wanting to do sales and not knowing what the difference is. So I try to explain this to you with a graphic from HubSpot, okay? So what is sales? Okay, if you know what is sales, you can put it in the chat or just write down, type it out, okay? But sales, basically I have some sales coaches that joined my workshops this year, and they said, and I was very happy. Initially, I was like a bit nervous trying to hear their explanation of what is sales, right? As a sales coach, actually, they say like sales is 80% marketing. So that's how important marketing is. If you don't have good marketing done, okay, then you would find your sales team will find it very difficult to close sales. And that has happened to many across a lot of industries. No matter how good, how much money you spend on marketing, if you don't have a good product, okay, someone asked that question. You submitted it to Joshua, I think. If you don't have a good product, don't bother marketing it. Marketing is for businesses with very good products, very good services, and they want to get it out to more people. Okay, so if you don't have it, if you don't have a good product, you don't have a good service, don't bother spending marketing on it. Don't spend money, don't throw away money, because there is one point where you're going to get some customers, but there's one point where it stops at, which is word of mouth. Your customers are not going to recommend you. Your customers are not going to remember you. They are going to leave you a very bad review online, whether it's Facebook, Google, forums. Okay, so 80% marketing, okay? So sales is, and I agree with that explanation as well. So then what is marketing? So we say that sales is 80% marketing, right? And then what is marketing? So of course, I just want to bring up the point that marketing is not spamming. So if you're spamming a customer, means that number one, they're not expecting your marketing message, they're not expecting your content, they're not expecting your emails. Okay, so it's definitely not spamming. So you have to ask yourself, how can you get to know a group of customers? Whether it's, let's say you have beauty products, you send test kits out and people actually said that, hey, I want, you're not just giving randomly, like, oh, my quota is giving out 10,000 samples and I just give out randomly. Whether or not they want it, whether or not they will use it, whether or not they will buy it at your price points, because a lot of products are very expensive. So if, let's say I'm a customer, even myself, I use products in the range of $10 to about $40. I don't go above $40. But there are people who will spend hundreds of dollars on beauty products. But if you give me a beauty product test kit that costs hundreds of dollars, okay, let's say it costs $500, you have to understand that this group of customers will never buy from you, and that's me included. Okay, so then how can you find your customers? So that's the big question that marketers need to ask. And how are you going to qualify this group of people who will pay that value, and they are actually, they might switch. Some people might switch because they see the result of it, but you have to understand whether that is your goal or not, and the real problem that you're going to face from this group of customers. Okay, so marketers, big thing to figure out, a lot of things to figure out actually. All right, so next problem, okay, businesses use social media to just talk about themselves, use digital marketing to just talk about their business, just talk about what they do. They're not looking at problems and identifying problems so that people can actually relate to them better. So I give you an example of our own agency. Our own agency, we have retainer, social media retainer, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn for our clients, right? Email marketing as well. But let's say I only talk about my services. I don't give case study like in insurance, what is good, why are this certain accounts making certain mistakes, or what you should be doing. Then I'm not helping you to understand and see the benefits of the value that I can add value to you, right? So you might ask like, hey, then you add so much value already, then where do you come in? So like I mentioned to you, there are people who want to understand, but they don't want to do it themselves. They don't have the time to do it, and they believe that you can add further value to them, and that has to be true. If it isn't, and that's only the amount of value that you can bring, then that's really not very much value as well. Okay, so don't talk only about yourself. For us, if you take a look at, I'll just go very quickly to our Instagram, okay, just to share with you our Instagram feed. Right, so yeah, so this is our Instagram feed. Okay, so we talk about different things, the type of contents you should post, type of contents. In fact, later we have this slide as well. So in fact, I can pull up my Instagram feed and give a 1-hour webinar to talk about social media or digital marketing. So that's the amount of content that we are bringing, and it's just that a lot of times people don't know how to connect, right? People don't know how to connect those points together, and that's where we come in with our training. And when they see so much content and they really want to understand specifically to their problem, specifically to their industry and context, that's when they come for our training, right? So that is basically the value that we bring with this social media platforms that we are exploring. Okay, so hope you understand that even like how often to post, we talk about it, right? We don't hide it. I think even SEO, I had a post that did very well on my LinkedIn, and in fact, yeah, it went like 40,000 views on my LinkedIn as a PDF post, right? So these are things that we share, and we don't, I mean, for me, I don't see value in hiding. And one of the reasons why I actually got started is because like so many clients come with so many ideas of social media, and it was just very difficult for us to answer. Okay, so that is not only talking about yourself, right? And last but not least, what is your marketing hook? Is it attractive or is it not attractive? If it is not attractive, then you have to ask yourself why. So one of the things that we used to do, or rather ever since circuit breaker, is webinars. So we do like 45 minutes to 1 hour webinars, and we try to help people out to answer their problems, questions that they have, and show them the benefits of being on social media. All right, and a lot of agencies would tell you like, hey, you need to have presence across all the different social media platforms. But for me, I take a different approach. I think that you should build confidence on one social media platform and focus on that platform. Once you get the momentum, then you look at other platforms. All right. Okay. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? If you have, feel free to drop it in the comment section, and we will actually try to answer them. All right. Okay. So next is what kind of content should you create, right? Then you will ask me like, maybe in our agency is easy, but what about other contents, right? Other industries. So what kind of content? So there's always what you want to do, what you want to create, and always what your customers want. So what you try to do is you meet in the middle, all right? Meet in the middle. For example, even this talk, to do this talk, what I want is content for other people who might ask me about, digital marketing. And I would say, hey, by the way, I did this talk with TP students, why don't you spend some time to watch it? Right, so digital currency and digital content. So ask yourself about these questions as well. Okay, I see a question. So the difference between sales and marketing is trying to attract people, trying to attract basically your customers, but not so much of sales. Sales is basically just telling you and closing you as a sale. Most likely sales people do, like, let's say if I have a tech product, I will do a demonstration of the product, and that is sales. But before you even consider this tech product, whether it's accounting software or many other things, the marketing needs to be done. You probably would be wondering, like, it's just like Adidas shoes and Nike shoes. Why do people buy Nike shoes and not Adidas? Why do some love Adidas and not Nike? It's the same thing, your marketing message. What is your marketing message out there? Why would I buy from you than the other brand? Similarly for bags, what brands do you guys use now? I think my time was definitely Converse shoes, and there's this like New Urban Mill or something like that. That was my time. But if you ask like use nowadays, probably different brand, right? Different brand, and the shoes that you wear, I think a lot of influencers like New Balance. So why is that so? So why is it that certain products appeal to certain group of people? That's the marketing done. So the sales would be down to people at the retail store, servicing, customer service, and closing that sale, helping the customer out. So that is the customer experience that leads to the sale. But the marketing must be top of mind. If it is not even on top of my mind, your brand doesn't come on top of my mind, that's when I will never even consider you, and you will never get my sale, right? So if for accounting softwares and other tech products, whether it's Udemy, Skillshare, even when we talk about learning, and LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn Learning, which one will you choose? Right? You have to ask yourself, and that's the marketing and the brand message behind each brand. Do they deliver different things? It's still learning content, right? So that's something to think about, right? Okay, so make something in the middle, right? Good question there, right, Yingxing? Okay, so hopefully for those of you who are attending this webinar, ask yourself these different things that I'm sharing. Okay, it's good to ask questions, because if you don't and you leave, you're not really spending, you're not really getting the most out of this time. Okay, now giving up too early is like someone trying to dig for gold, and the goal is just there, but they're just they just feel so tired, and so they gave up early. Okay, so this is the illustration for you. Okay, make mistakes, but don't make mistakes that other people have already made. So learn before you do, or learn along the way. Don't just blindly do some like marketing messages. Ask yourself, how can I do better? And revisit every campaign. Every social media campaign has real-time analytics now. If I keep it consistent, if every single ad I spend $10, over 10 days I spend $100. If this $100 got me 100 clicks compared to another $100 that only got me like 60 clicks, it tells me something, right? So it's immediate. In fact, a lot of us marketers today, we have immediate responses, and we are able to decide that, hey, something is wrong, something is And a lot of times previously in history, marketers have to wait until the campaign is over, okay, before they're able to tell. All right, so a few steps, okay? So I've talked about certain things, who your customers are, you need to do it. Which social media platform should you use? Like I mentioned to you, I don't recommend you to go on everything. You have to identify. If you tell me that your age group, your customers are aged between 18 to 50, that means you don't know who your customers are. Okay, even for our courses, we have a soft spot of customers as well. Okay, and a lot of our signups are actually women business owners. So if you ask me, when I do my ads, I would only put it to ladies between a certain age group. Does it make sense? All right, so knowing your customers is very important. In fact, we started Facebook, I think in 2013 or 14, and or maybe slightly earlier lah, but really like the efforts in creating our own content was probably 2014 or 15. And if you look at the followers that we have now compared to our Instagram we only started first quarter or second quarter of 2017. Okay, so obviously our customers are on Instagram, right? So also understanding what kind of content do they consume. So we don't really put the same content on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. We don't put the same content out. So for Facebook, we do Facebook Live. For Instagram, we do like infographics and just videos as well, but more videos on Facebook, and we have long form videos on YouTube. All right, because YouTube is not only a social media platform, it is the second largest search engine on the internet, right? So, and Google is the largest, and Google owns YouTube. Okay, so consider step 3, consider the type of content. So my best customers are customers who enjoy our infographics on Instagram, and they enjoy our YouTube videos. Okay, so these are the platforms. So I would spend more effort and time on our YouTube videos and our social media, Instagram infographics. But sometimes we do pick our best posts and post it on Instagram, but on Facebook, but it doesn't do as well as it does on Instagram. Does it make sense? Okay, so same content will not do as well on across different platforms. Okay, irresistible offer from my point of view, from as an agency or doing training, would be, I think, to give webinar sessions, at least for me. Okay, so think about yourself, what is that? And I like to give this example and question is like, for example, you know, co-working spaces is trending nowadays. And at one point where co-working spaces was trending so much, I was asking people, what do you think would help? Do you think would be the irresistible offer that these co-working spaces can give? And a lot of people couldn't answer, but some did. And it was actually a free pass, a 1-day pass or 1-week pass. Which one do you think is more attractive? A 1-week pass is definitely more attractive, right? But the question is, do you think 1 day is enough or not? 1 day is attractive, but do you think it's enough for them to experience the culture and the office, lunch, right? Location, all these things do play a part, right? Yeah. So, and even for myself, once we had our office, it was cheap because our head count then was quite many people. So to be in Central District, it was a bit expensive. So we went into industrial park. Someone revamped the whole unit, and there were about 6 units there. So, and for me, just after like just 2 weeks there, I cannot stand it really, because the food choices is inconvenient, and many other things, right? So these things do play a big part. Okay, so ask yourself, what is your irresistible offer, and whether it's sufficient time. Maybe 1 week is too long for you. Maybe 3 days. One day is already too short. Okay. Step number 5 is what I call designing a landing page. So a lot of people make a mistake where they drive traffic to their website. A website is very distracting. So especially all of you who are attending here, I think probably you can relate to this. Sometimes you open up a web page from social media, then a social media notification came in. Someone liked your Instagram post, or a notification came in, like someone you follow on social media just posted a live video or something, and then you click out, or WhatsApp message came in and you click out. So that is very distracting. So that's why we actually encourage you to look into a landing page. Just write it down, read up on it. What is a landing page? Okay, and MailerLite has landing pages as well. I think you can try it out, just that MailerLite, you probably would not be able to do an email blast because you use personal Gmails. They need corporate emails to be able to give you a free account to use. But that being said, you can still try everything out. It's just that you can't do an email blast. Okay, so landing pages, check out MailerLite.com. Okay, last step, building trust and relationship with your customers digitally. So a lot of times social media or digital marketing, we are just communicating one way, but we forgot to look at it as a communication tool. So if I were to build my website in a way where it leads you in, asks you questions, it answers your question, it drives you to different type of content, and even quiz you, I think that is interactive, and that helps to build the relationship, the trust. I enjoy the process and the experience on your website, and that's where we decide whether or not to purchase with you, whether to engage you as an agency, right? So that is my customer's point of view of us. So ask yourself, whatever business, I think later we'll have some time, maybe a few volunteers to share, right? What industry are you in? And especially for those of you who are doing internships and you are taking the social media or digital marketing role, okay, let me know in the comments as well. Maybe we'll have you share a little bit about your questions or your take on certain of these things. Okay, so a lot of people who market on social media, this is how they market, right? A realtor will put a realtor condo picture, and Comet is basically doing training. So it says running February, funding up to 95%. But what do you think is the mistake of these two ads? Anyone heard of Jeffrey the Realtor or Comet before? Anybody? Anyone heard? No? Right? So that's the problem. Nobody knows you, and then you advertise like this. So what you need to do is you need to help people to get to know you first. Whether is it an animation video like what Comet did, but it should be to tell them, to share about what Comet does, whether it's a training, maybe some testimonials from students about how they feel about the trainers, the program, right? So that's building awareness. So a lot of people are just advertising, and that's what I mean by you're just doing sales on social media. You're not trying to build brand awareness of who you are and try to appeal to be different from your competitors. Okay, so that's the mistake that I was trying to illustrate earlier. And it's a common mistake, actually. A lot of times our customers come to us and we train like hundreds of business owners every single year. All of them are doing this, right? So the question is, how can you help people get to know you and make you top of mind? So if let's say there's ABC company, they will definitely choose you. So how can you stand out? That is the brand awareness and branding, brand positioning and marketing, okay? All right, so some questions to ask yourself here. Okay, how can you be inspiring? How can you motivate? How can you help your customers? And there's this term called inbound marketing. Anybody heard of this term before, inbound marketing? Anybody heard before, inbound marketing? Right, so actually inbound marketing is attraction. So we attract people to basically our business, and that is inbound marketing. So say for example, before you sign up for my Instagram course, I have a checklist for you. I have a webinar for you that attracts you to me because I'm giving something valuable away for free. Okay, all right. So inbound marketing, think about it. You can Google it, read up about it. So then you will be thinking the type of contents that you can create, right? So you have to do two things. You ask yourself, what are your strengths? If your strength is to create, design, create infographics, right? Build on your strengths. If it is to do videos, do videos. If it's to write, some of you, your strengths are writing. Write on a blog, write on LinkedIn articles, share your thoughts, okay? Next, ebooks. Yeah, basically PDF slides or vertical ebooks, slide shares. Okay, these are more for our training industry because I teach trainers as well. Okay, infographics. Last but not least, podcasts. Some of you are very good on social media platform. If you are doing very well, besides entertaining, right, I think there is value in educating on social media platforms as well, and that's what we do. Okay. Ask yourself, what kind of content do you prefer consume? What kind of contents do you create more easily is your strength. So try to find a match. Don't always look at something try to look for a win-win situation here. Okay, so for me, I'm definitely not as good in writing. It takes me a lot of time, but creating a video, a webinar, creating infographics takes me lesser time than writing a blog. Okay, so importance of content marketing. Earlier I shared a little bit, and I just want to do just share with you some quotes. Good content needs to be marketed. Okay, don't only write good content and just leave it as it is and just expect magic to happen and tons of traffic to come. Recently, during the circuit breaker, our blog on how insurance agents can find leads started to get traction. But actually, the first time I wrote this post was 1 year ago. Okay, so good content needs to be marketed, and we marketed it through webinars. Okay, and it started to get traction. Like now, we are not even doing webinars for insurance agents anymore, but it's still getting traction. Number 2, the best marketing doesn't feel like marketing. This is by Tom Fishburn. And I think if you can reach that stage that you are actually marketing about your product and people don't feel that it's marketing, I think that's the best case. A lot of times people don't realize, even the the Chinese New Year red packets with the banks, okay, those are marketing as well. Okay, so those are marketing messages as well. Okay, someone asked this question. I added this slide in for you. Okay, the difference between Google and social media. So I might have explained this earlier. It's based on search intent. So if I am searching for something and I can advertise and bid against this keyword, so I'm paying for a per click result. Whereas social media is slightly different, but Facebook has a very wide audience of 20 to 60 plus. So it's a low-lying fruit for a lot of businesses. Last but not least, Instagram. I think Instagram has a younger audience, but there are audience that we label as millennials, and I think one of the things is that they are very comfortable to purchase online, and they look at digital currency quite a fair bit. Okay. All right, almost ending. Quite a lot of content for you today. Is everyone okay? We're almost ending. So another thing to think about is, besides just advertising, okay, your hook, what's your enticing valuable offer, your social media advertising, okay, you have to think about capturing their emails. So if you don't capture their emails, you always have to spend money on social media to advertise. But if you capture their emails, you can actually bring the communication through email marketing, and you can use email marketing to nurture them. So don't sell at the first email you send out, right? Talk about something, help them, and towards the end, we always do this 80%, 20% rule. 80% you help, 20% you sell. So on social media, 80% of the time, try to help your customers. If you cannot do 80%, do 60 first, and then move upwards to 70 and 80, right? So at least you start somewhere, okay? Then you make a sale, right? So in fact, like some people will reply my emails and say like, oh, I enjoy receiving your emails recently, especially because of circuit breaker. Okay, so before we end, I have a video for you to watch. All right, so what is integrated digital marketing, which I think all of us can think about. Okay, it's a 3-minute video, all right? And if you have any questions, this is the time to put it in the chat. Okay.
The world of marketing has evolved dramatically over time. Today, every business needs an integrated digital marketing strategy. Sounds complex? No worries. We'll be explaining what an integrated digital marketing strategy is all about in this video. Try to recall when was the last time you purchased an item or service. Did you wait for a particular commercial to pop up on TV? If you faced a problem at work and needed to learn social media or digital marketing, do you call up a friend to ask which workshop they would recommend for you to attend? Nope, you probably did what most people do nowadays. You went online and did your own research. You may not be aware of it, but you are already a part of this modern revolutionary marketing process. When customers do search online, they will see the websites that are the most optimized for search, also known as SEO-friendly websites. So imagine with me that you have made your business website SEO-friendly, and you run weekly social media ads that drive your websites lots of traffic. On your website, you give away a free ebook guide or content that pops up before a user exits your website. When the user enters their email in, they receive the ebook automatically in their emails. Now, imagine you have an SEO strategy and a monthly social media advertising budget, but did not have any freebies or giveaways via a pop-up. That is literally driving your customers to your website, but letting your customers slip right through again as you did not manage to capture your customers' email leads. That would allow you to follow up and remarket with email marketing. This is what we mean by an integrated digital marketing strategy. In the example above, it involves integrating 4 digital marketing components: SEO marketing strategy, social media advertising, content marketing, and email marketing. Would you like more leads and sales for your business? Start with an integrated digital marketing strategy. Learn with Sky Digital Agency.
All right, so that was the video, right? So that's what I wanted to share with you to think about integrated digital marketing. Okay, so I will end with this slide, and that is a bit of a funnel, right, for everyone to think about. And most of the time we're just stuck here, so we're not thinking about step 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that's for me. Thank you so much for being with us. There are some questions, Q&A. But before we do that, maybe we'll take questions from the floor, those who are here. Anything? I wanted to ask about the mistake where you say marketers talk about business only. So they should also talk about things that connect with audience. Can you explain more? So if you keep talking about your business, say for example, I keep talking about, let's say, okay, think of an industry and me, right? Think of an industry. You want to give me an example of an industry? What about Joshua? What do you think? Maybe give me an industry so that I can give an example.
How about the ever popular F&B industry?
F&B, okay. So let's say McDonald's is always talking about their burgers, right? But they can afford to do it because they are a big brand. They can afford to do it because they are so big. And but if you realize, McDonald's have many other campaigns going on. They have the charity, they have the run, they have a lot of things going on that builds the that awareness and brand for them. Aside having a very good product, right? So if a smaller burger chain or a fast food chain comes about and they keep talking about it and they're not like being fun. Okay, let me give you an example. If they're not being fun about it, they're not educating me about the burgers, then they don't stay on top of my mind. Because if I want to eat certain foods, I want to understand why is yours juicier. If you can give me like a content or video, 1-minute video to share how you choose your meat, how you choose your bread, how you cook your bread, what goes inside the bread. That intrigues me and that attracts me to your business, to your F&B. So that's the idea behind content. So if we keep talking about ourselves, for example, I keep talking about my courses. I've seen a lot of social media accounts keep talking about courses, the agency. So the question is, do you think people will be attracted to this agency because they keep talking? So why? You're not telling me the why. You're not telling me why it's important to me. Why is it relevant to me, right? But if I were to describe a problem to you, or a case study of a client who used social media and after that they got a lot of traction of what they're doing, then that is a different point of view of attracting customers, of marketing, and that is a different strategy basically. So that's what I'm talking about. Connecting with audience is definitely something that if we don't think about, then definitely we are losing a lot. So a lot of businesses, they just do one-way traffic communication. They just tell you like one way, but they don't ask you like, do you have any questions for us? Then that's when it's easy to forget, right? But if you ask me for my thoughts, that's when I'm replying you emotionally, you remember this brand more because you connected with this brand, right? So that's probably the example I can give right now, right? But if you have other questions, I think, but I have one example for you. Who here, okay, if you can turn on your webcams or do a virtual, who here use Circles Live? Is it called Circles Live? Who here use Singtel? Who here use StarHub? Who here use M1? You can just type it out in the chat. Okay, I'm gonna open up their Instagram account. Okay, who here uses, anybody? Okay, Joshua uses Singtel. There's M1, Circles, okay. So for the person using Circles, Ying Jing, you use Circles. Do you follow them on social media? Anybody else using Circles? I think a lot of people using Singtel and StarHub. They are the big guys, right? So a lot of times it's just a continuity of the plan. You probably keep continuing. Don't follow them on social media, okay? Okay, so I will tell you that I don't use Circles, but I think I follow them on social media, okay? Because their feed keeps popping up on my screen. So I'll show you what they post, okay? And you can compare this with StarHub and Singtel, okay? So let's look at StarHub. Let's look at Singtel. Okay, I won't look at M1 now. It's pretty much the same. Okay, and last but not least, let's look at Circles. Okay, Circles. All right, so Singtel, right, talks about 5G, talks about the phone, talks a little bit about the channels because they have Mail TV and things like that, right? So pretty much about themselves, about phones, about telco plans, okay? Now, let's look at StarHub, pretty much similar. You can see Galaxy S20. I think they also talk about Galaxy S20. Yeah, similar timeline as well. What a coincidence. Okay, but anyways, keep talking about themselves, right? Different channels. So, okay, let's look at this. 20,000 followers. Okay, Singtel because bigger budgets. 31,000. Okay, bigger market share as well. Okay, let's look at Circles. How many followers do they have? 24,000 is more than StarHub. Okay, and definitely more than M1. Okay, very close, and I think they would exceed Singtel at one point, probably by early next year. Okay, and one of the things that they do is that they really entertain me. Okay, and they will ask me like questions whether I want to switch to get unlimited Wi-Fi, right? And you see this when you sign up for a telco contract, basically you're like missing the bowling pin. All right, so it entertains me, and I think if anything, they are on top of my mind right now, right? And because they keep coming out on my social media feed, and it educates me on certain things, right? I think even iPhone hacks, right? They don't only talk about them, but look at this. They are relatable, unlimited data. Who makes their drinks like this? I do see secondary school students who like to make drinks like this. I don't know about college students, but if you do, no shame, nothing to be shameful about. But look at them; they are able to relate, okay, to people. They know who their audience are. Okay, this company knows who their audience are. So I will say that you have to not only look at your business. Not only look at talking about your business, I mean. Okay, so that's I hope that I answered your question there. Let me take a look at the next question. Okay, but a lot of people are using Singtel. So my question is, I think I have to be honest, Singtel has very good customer service. Okay, if I illustrate a problem to them, they usually give me like a waiver, whether it's prorated. But StarHub, it's very hard to get anything out from them. But I use StarHub internet because it's cheap. And really, like, no frills, okay? Don't expect good customer service from StarHub, but you can expect that that there's a certain service that service as in you do get the internet right? You don't have to worry about things like that. Okay, next question from Vignes Nayangan. I am aiming towards older people. Which social media platform do I use to target them efficiently and effectively for current and future trends? You mean your business is current and future trends? The social media content that can appeal to seniors. Okay, there is a stat, I think you probably have read up more about this, but obviously seniors are not on Instagram, they are not on TikTok, right? There are always a few, but the majority of them are not, they are on Facebook. So there is a stat that has reported that the older age group has more attention span than the younger people, right? Because of all our notifications coming in, the adrenaline that we get when our friends, when we post something and then we keep getting likes, comments on our stories or posts. And they have more attention span on videos. Okay, they have more attention span on videos. So think about Facebook. Think about creating videos. And I think not only just videos, but I think videos are more effective to communicate a lot of things. If you have heard of this saying before, a picture paints 1,000 words, so a video paints 1,000,000 words. Okay, so I hope I answered your question. But if you have more, okay, no other questions. This is like how do you find a balance to provide enough value but don't give too much such that your audience don't need you anymore? I think you don't have to worry of over delivering, because the unless like you say like, okay, I have a 1-day Instagram course and I'm also going to teach you this exact same content online. Okay, and say for example you teach it free, then it's a conflict, right? That is a direct conflict. But if you see like you have different tiers, you know that there are certain group who cannot make it on the days that you have, because we have our classes once a month. Some people feel that it's not regular enough, but to be very honest, our schedules are much more regular than polytechnics and universities. They only hold it like pre-COVID, they only hold it like once a quarter, okay, once in 3 months. Okay, so I would have, like, even right now, okay, for those of you who like to learn Instagram, what you can do is later I'll give you a form you just need to fill in. I have already created a 60 minutes Instagram mini course, and we're giving away that for free. So why is that important? Partly because we are addressing prerequisite knowledge. We don't want to talk about all this broad level things about Instagram at our workshops, right? Because it's only 1 day. 1 day is not a lot of time if you think about it. So that's why we gave it. But we are also thinking of somewhere in the middle where we are going to teach a 3.5-hour content, and we're going to have it hosted either on Thinkific or Skillshare. And this is like, basically you don't need that face-to-face, but you want to learn, and this is for you. And then there's a face-to-face. So they have an option. You can save money basically with that option. You take the online course, we'll give you a discount for the face-to-face. Okay, so that is if you ask me, I don't think that it is it cannot be a direct clash, but don't worry about over delivering, because I think that you can always get better with your content. So if I teach you something two years ago, my slides are 2 years ago, I can tell you that my content is different now. So if you actually attend our courses every other year, I think you will learn different things. So that is also a challenge for you to improve. And I think the mindset to have is really how can you improve on your product and service. A lot of people, they don't look at improving, and the product is always the same, which is happening in a lot of schools. Okay, a lot of ATOs and training organizations as well. And it's a dangerous thing, I think, not innovating and not looking at different marketing strategies that would disrupt basically the industry and have you as the top leader in the industry. So I think as youths, I think you should always give value and make it better. So if, let's say, so I always challenge myself, if this is something that I taught already on my video, let's say in my webinar, I exclude it from my training slides. And I make it a prerequisite that you have to watch this 45 minutes an hour video before you come to class, right? So firstly, I'm differentiating myself from my competitors. Secondly, I'm adding value even before you decide on coming to the class. Right? Okay, so think about those things, right? I don't think that an audience would never need to know you unless like they are like your direct competitors doing the same thing as you are. Okay, so all right, I will flash out some of the questions that I've already pre-answered. So if you are here attending the class today and your questions are answered, but you have more questions, just feel free to add on. All right. So a few questions here. Question 5. Okay, does digital marketing require a lot of money? I think a good budget is somewhere between like $100 to $200 a week. Anything lesser is really hard to get results from it. Although at one point of time when Insta Story advertising first came about and we went on, every like $35 advertisement spend that we get like 1 to 2 signups for our workshops, but that doesn't happen anymore lah. Okay, so I don't think it takes a lot of money compared to traditional advertising. So we used to share and ask people to brainstorm how much it costs for flyer advertising. So you can think about it: flyer design, flyer printing, flyer distribution, and how will you track this flyer? I think that's the big question to have, right? If you can't track whether you want to keep using. Okay, so that's my take to that question here. Okay, so think about it. All right, definitely more expensive. Question 2, is it more effective? I think it is more cost effective, but physical marketing, word of mouth, trials, free trials are still very powerful. So depending on your business, right, you might need to still explore physical marketing. Okay. Question 3, what are some limitations to marketing? I think the mindset of this is very important. To a certain extent, face-to-face is important, right? In certain business and certain industries, but always look at building your digital presence as an investment rather than an expense. Okay, so I think limitation-wise, I can't think of any right now, but I can't deny the fact that certain industries still need that physical face-to-face interaction. And yeah, and they are very good salespeople, they are very good influencers, they influence people to make decisions. So depending on your strengths, but nowadays, a lot of people are going to your social media, checking out your presence before deciding. So a few questions I'll ask you is, if let's say you see a training agency teaching Facebook and Instagram marketing, and the last post that they posted was say 1 month ago or 2 months ago, what is the impression to you, right? So think about these things, okay? Number 4, is it necessary to hire someone? It depends on your business, how big your business is. If you are a one-man show, you might want to consider a freelancer, maybe, and depending on how many social media platforms. But I always encourage you to focus on one and think about integrated digital marketing that I talked about earlier as well. So try to integrate, whether it's just one social media platform, try to integrate at least the email marketing part to it, okay? And how do you maximize traction through SEO? I think this question needs a bit rephrasing. So if you were the one who asked this question, if you can rephrase it in the Zoom chat, be more than happy to answer it, okay? But I think be creative, think out of the box, invest in visuals, okay? So this is some of our social media, some of our top performing social media posts on our agency's Instagram account. So yeah, be creative, okay? How has digital marketing evolved? Has COVID changed the scene of the marketing industry? In fact, when COVID first happened, there was this post that was trending. I'm not sure how many of you saw it. It was asking who actually did the digital transformation in your company. Have you all seen that post before? Who transformed your company? Was it your CFO, your CEO, or your CTO, or was it COVID? So it was trending because COVID actually changed. It wasn't the CTO, it wasn't the CEO or the chief people, the executive people. So it was COVID, but sadly, at that point of time, many people were struggling to go online. So a lot of people reached out to us and we did a lot of webinars, but a lot of people didn't get started. So I think that if today you're still not getting started, you're not learning these skills, embracing different technologies that come about, I think it's going to be very, very, very challenging for you moving forward, because I don't think that this COVID thing is going to be just the only one. Like, there's no way to prevent. Okay, so I think you need to start thinking, because the next time it happens, it's probably going to be worse, because we are so connected these days. Yeah, so it will spread. It will spread faster and more dangerously next time, right? So it will change the way that we interact. It will change certain policies moving forward. So it really depends, but it is definitely going to disrupt how we market, how we relate to one another, how we do our marketing, our sales, many things. Okay, so definitely change in many ways, but I can't really give you a specific example. But I do see a lot of people who still struggle to go online. They might not be very old, they might be in their 30s, and they still struggle. Okay, they still struggle. They struggle with maybe they have gotten started, but they struggle with being consistent in just creating contents. Okay. What other areas besides content marketing? Okay, need more context as well. But if you are doing content marketing already, you should be drawing your audience in. If you are not, there might be something that you're not doing right. It's probably time to do a review and audit of what you're doing. Last but not least, this is the last question that I've answered. Okay, some questions I didn't answer. Needed more context. Okay, number 8, in your experience, what are some good and bad digital marketing examples from companies? So I just shared with you the Singtel, StarHub, Circles Life example. And although I'm not using it, I feel entertained and I follow them on social media. And I think if ever like I'm going to consider, I would consider Circles of Life. But if you want to consider like a good customer service, so these are things that are lacking. So where do you choose, right? So understand your audience. I think if the telcos understand their audience, then they're going to attract their audience as well. Okay, so one other common mistake is treating every social media platform the same. I have a graphic here from Co-Schedule. Okay, it's different. So if you own pets, this is a teaser that they did many years ago. I shared this in my 2016 classes. Facebook, Twitter, Google+. We don't use Twitter and Google+ a lot, but you can see the vast difference with Facebook and LinkedIn. Okay, so don't treat every social media platform the same, right? I like petting cats and I have skills in petting many cats. That's different, right? Not investing in digital marketing and looking at it as an expense. I think that's the biggest mistake in campaigns. They don't spend so much in the digital aspect of things. They don't look at investing in digital content, whether is it writing a blog. They just want organic traffic from SEO, but they don't look at investing in the SEO content and the research behind it. Okay. Right, integrated digital strategy. I talked about it earlier. I shared a video. Choosing too many platforms and not picking a low-lying fruit. A low-lying fruit will be where your audience is on, your strengths in creating the content. So even for Instagram, there are people who do very well just by creating IGTV videos or 1-minute videos. There are people like us, I think, we do better with infographic content. So understanding what is a low-lying fruit, right? So yeah, that's all from me.
Yeah, we still got more questions on Mentimeter.
Oh, I see. Okay, so I'll take this last question from Zoom. All right, so from Ebony. So what made you work in the marketing industry? Actually, it's not very different. In fact, if you're a creative student, you have a higher edge against all other students, because when you know design and when you know marketing and you pay a little bit more attention to your customers, that is going to help you out. And I think, to be very honest, marketing was something that I just learned as I started to run my own agency. I realized that it's very important to think at my customer's shoes. So I give you one example. A lot of people back then, when I first started my agency back in 2010, they run their businesses without websites. So they will always tell me, I run my businesses and I made a living. Not only made a living, I provided for other people, my employees, a livelihood without a website. So now you're telling me that I need a website. Okay, this was something that we faced when we first started back then, as a web designer, as a interactive media student, graduated. So we were facing an uphill battle, and I think marketing came about when we realized that we needed to help our customers realize that how are people going to choose you over other people, and that was something that we learned along the way. Okay, so I think that is the question that Ebony is asking. So it's not really like make me work in the marketing industry, but more like I had to really put myself in my customer's shoes to help them stand out from their competition. So that was how I think I learned marketing along the way, and embrace and enjoy marketing more than sales. So that's for me. All right, hope that answers your question, Ebony.
Okay, so here we are at Mentimeter. Here are the questions. Is digital marketing essential for every business?
I think you can choose not to do it, just that how are you going to get to your customers? So That's something that I think a lot of brands are just worried right now. And F&B, okay, actually the funny thing is, in 2016, I did this video where I talked about what was important for F&B businesses to adopt, which was like delivery services. And then as I look back, a lot of F&B didn't want to because there was a percentage that they had to pay the platform, so they were not very keen. But if you look back, those who embraced it actually had an slightly easier time. In fact, a lot of them, they were saying that online orders are so good that they are unable to do like they didn't want to open up the restaurant. So these are things that I think if you still do not think that it's essential, for me, I would definitely say that it's essential. I'm a digital marketer. So if you still don't think that's essential, then the question is how are you going to get your customers? How are you going to stay top of mind? A few days back, I got this question. I think it was just yesterday. I had a full day class. This person asked me, how often do I need to post on social media? The question is, how often do you want your customers to think about you? If you only want them to think about you once a month, then just post once a month. If you want them to think of you once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, that's the frequency that you need to be posting on social media, right? But there are certain platforms that you don't need to post so often, like YouTube. YouTube once a week, twice a week is good enough, right? Similarly for Facebook, once or twice a week is enough. Okay, next question.
Can you explain the sales funnels again?
Okay, sales funnel, I have a slide. I have a YouTube video. I already recorded it some time ago. So maybe we can give that YouTube video in the Zoom chat and also in our Facebook Live. Does that work better?
Okay.
Yeah.
For beginners, where do you recommend they start learning about marketing?
Okay, I think, there are a few free platforms out there. Okay, a personal favorite, I prefer SkillsShare. SkillsShare, if I'm not wrong, are still giving 2 months free. You just need to remember to unsubscribe before the 2 months is up. I think a lot of very good content there. And if you have a school holiday, you must be disciplined, okay? You must be disciplined. You must set time to learn. And the good thing about SkillsShare is that the courses are short. So like 45 minutes to an hour and a half. I think there are longer courses, but I think you build your momentum first. If you are not, you're not like someone who can sit down the whole day to take an online course on your own, just do the shorter courses first, 45 minutes to an hour. Build the momentum. I think you might see like certain skills not really adding value to you, but I can tell you that in a corporate world that these are things that are very important. Can you imagine like an organization and someone is able to take photos and they volunteer? You are adding value to the company. Right? So look at these different things. All right. So Joshua just sent the digital marketing sales funnel video. In fact, I have a lot of resources on my YouTube channel. So I think there is a playlist about Facebook as well. You can check that out. I have a playlist on Instagram and a playlist on email marketing. So there are 3 things that I think you can already pick up just via our YouTube channel.
And with that, I would once again like to thank Ms. Charmaine Lee for taking some time off your busy schedule today to promote education in TP.